It's been 6 months since the finale of the console wars. The PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 clashed through 12 heated rounds, and in the end, the PS3 came out on top. Both consoles have evolved quite a bit since the beginning of the series, and it's now time to take a second look. In Season 2 of the console wars, we're going to be focusing on motion-controlled gaming. It's going to be a battle between the PlayStation Move and the Xbox 360 Kinect. In this first round, we're going to be taking a look at the technology behind all the smoke and mirrors. I'll be comparing the devices in terms of technical innovation and implementation. So we're going to be taking a look at how the devices work and how the technology translates into actual gameplay. A lot of technical stuff to be covered, so put on your gaming hats and get ready for 6 full rounds of heavyweight game console action. This is LP and I'm back for Season 2 of the Console Wars. In last season's feature round, I compared the PlayStation Move and the Xbox 360 Kinect in terms of what Microsoft and Sony were claiming the devices can do. In this round, we'll start to find out what the devices are actually capable of and how they perform against all that hype and marketing. But let's get to it. First up, the PlayStation Wii. The PlayStation Move. There's some reason behind my insanity in this case because the PlayStation Move has a distinct similarity in terms of looks and also in terms of hardware when comparing it to the Wii. And the Wii Mode, of course. So let's break down how the PlayStation Move works. The Move consists of 3 basic elements: the PlayStation Eye, the Move Controller, and Navi Controller. Much like the controllers on the Nintendo Wii, the PlayStation Move controllers work via Bluetooth. And when combined, the 2 controllers have most of the buttons found on the DualShock controller. The basic principles of functionality with the Move are essentially the same as on the Wii. The Move controller contains a 3-axis linear accelerometer and a 3-angular rate sensor. The 2 sensors are used to track rotation and overall motion. Also inside the Move controller is a magnetometer, which calibrates the controller's orientation against the Earth's magnetic field. But of course, the most distinguishable component is the orb on top. Inside the rubber orb are light-emitting RGB diodes that are capable of glowing at a full range of RGB colors. The color is not only for a disco-inducing effect, the system dynamically selects a color that can be distinguished from the rest of the surrounding environment. The colored sphere of light serves as an active marker, which makes it possible for the position of the controller to be tracked along the line of sight of the PlayStation Eye. The orb has a spherical shape of known size, which allows the system to simply determine the controller's distance from the PlayStation Eye. So this is how the controller's position, rotation, and orientation can be tracked in 3 dimensions with precision and accuracy. All things considered, Sony owes a lot to Nintendo. The control scheme is essentially the same and the motion controller mechanics rely on the same techniques. But don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but what I am saying is that Sony has definitely taken the safe route. With the Move, at your disposal are several types of control layouts. Of course, first you have your single one gameplay, good for casual games like ping pong and other simple sports games. A single Move controller can be also used for gunplay. While I do like the 50s style laser gun attachment, this type of gameplay is nothing new. Light guns have been around since, well, Duck Hunt. So it's really nothing new. We'll get into the precision of the shooting in the second round. Then you have your dual wield control scheme, where you have Move controllers in both hands. And that can be used for archery, close quarters combat, and other fighting games. It will be interesting to see how this control scheme is implemented into games like Fight Night. But probably the most versatile type of control scheme with the Move is the dual wield with the Navi controller. If you're used to playing games on the Nintendo Wii, you'll feel right at home with the Move controllers. They're very comfortable in the hand, and this is the control scheme that will make the Move relevant to a hardcore audience as well. Already, games like Killzone 3 support Move controls, and I have to say it works surprisingly well. After tweaking around a bit with the sensitivity and a few minutes of practice, I was taking down enemies with headshots in no time. And I'd even go as far as to say that the game controls better than Metroid Prime. So it works very well, and it definitely brings something new to the FPS experience. Seeing motion controls implemented this well into a hardcore game only a few months after the Move is released is pretty impressive. Not to mention that the Move has already been incorporated into older games as well. It brings a whole new mechanic to games like Heavy Rain, and I actually have to recommend playing Heavy Rain with the Move controller because it feels very natural. The PlayStation Move, on the other hand, does require calibration, and lots of it. You basically need to calibrate the device every single time you play a game, and sometimes you're forced to recalibrate during gameplay. It's somewhat of a hassle, but luckily the calibration process is pretty straightforward and fast, but compared to the effortlessness of the Kinect, this calibration business feels a bit unnecessary. While Sony may say that the Move has been in development long before since the announcement of the Xbox 360 Kinect, I would not be surprised if the Move was developed nearly as a necessity to countermeasure Microsoft's push toward the broader audience and the casual market. Assumptions and theories aside, Sony has pulled off a nice control scheme that not only works, but I think outperforms its spiritual predecessor. So the PlayStation Move really does work. But the problem is, I've seen it all before. I'm not getting that wow factor as much as I would like to, but still, suffice to say, the Move is by no means something Microsoft or Nintendo should underestimate or brush off. The Microsoft Kinect is not merely a single sensor. The device has 4 microphones, an RGB camera, and a depth sensor that is a combination of an infrared sensor and monochrome CMOS sensor. The RGB camera and depth sensor capture the environment in a resolution of 640 by 480 pixels at 30 frames per second. So currently the capture resolution is pretty low, but Microsoft is reported to be working on a software update that doubles the capture resolution, which will open up even more possibilities when it comes to precision and accuracy. The depth sensor perceives the environment in frequencies ranging into the infrared spectrum, and the Kinect has no trouble seeing in the dark. So to break down and simplify how the Kinect works is that the device shoots out thousands of beams of infrared light, and it measures how long it takes the beams to reflect off objects and return to the infrared sensor. So light bounces back and forth off furniture and off everything in the Kinect's field of view, including the player. So essentially the Kinect creates a 3D map consisting of small pinpoints that updates 30 times per second. The Kinect is also capable of facial recognition and voice recognition, and both seem to work okay, although the sensor did have trouble recognizing my face after a few week break between playing. Could be that I gained a few pounds during Christmas. The device can also determine the source of the sound when you speak to it. And because the device is a multi-microphone array, it can differentiate noise and cancel it out. We'll be checking out the video chat capabilities of the Kinect in a later round. The Kinect also has a motorized pivoting stand, which is actually the reason why the device has a proprietary cable. The device requires more power than a standard USB port can output, and that's why the Kinect requires a power source if you happen to own an older Xbox. The new Xbox Slim obviously has a Kinect port built in. The Kinect device is an accomplishment on its own right, but the software is actually doing most of the heavy lifting. The software can recognize up to 6 people with 48 tracking points each. Now this is actually not incorporated into any games yet, but it's technically possible according to Microsoft. In any case, the software can determine individual parts of the human body. Head, arms, legs, you name it. The tracking is very intuitive and the Kinect hardly ever drops its tracking points. Now how the Kinect recognizes what I'm doing is by cross-referencing individual moves from a database of gestures. So if I do the moonwalk, it scans the archive to find that particular move. But the system is very smart and intuitive. If a limb or body part is temporarily out of sight, for example your arm goes behind your back, the system can extrapolate and basically guess what move you're trying to pull off. And in practice the Kinect pulls this off very well. The Kinect is no doubt a very impressive piece of hardware, and has been a hit device among hackers as well. There's a ton of videos of Kinect sensors modded for all kinds of creative uses. One particular hacker combined 2 Kinect devices to create a real-time feed of a 3D environment covering the back of the player as well. It's pretty obvious that the Kinect holds immense possibilities, and you never know, maybe come next generation, there will be Kinect surround system devices capable of full 3D capturing. The technology has interesting prospects, and I think Microsoft would benefit if they opened up the developer software for the Kinect, and that is sprout even more innovative ways of using the technology. The Kinect is a versatile device, and Microsoft has integrated Kinect nicely into the Xbox experience. And you can basically navigate the operating system with your hands, well at least the Kinect hub, but we'll delve deeper into the software side of things in later rounds. But the system is not entirely without fault. Probably the biggest gripe about the system is that it needs space. The Kinect requires about 2 meters of space between the device and the player, and you also need a lot of space to move around. So unless you have a wide open living room, you're going to be rearranging the furniture to play the Kinect. I personally could not play the Kinect in my room dedicated to gaming, so I had to move the Xbox 360 and the Kinect downstairs into my living room, and as you can guess, the wife was not pleased. But actually, after she tried the Kinect, there have been no complaints, and the device has been given permission to stay downstairs. So, before picking up a Kinect, I recommend checking out and making sure that you have enough space. Space to move around, and space between the Kinect sensor and the player. Furniture is something that the Kinect handles very well, but the device still has a lot of trouble making out a person while he's seated. Well, this really doesn't pose a problem yet because most games released on the Kinect at the moment are the type you want to play standing up. One of the best things the Kinect has going for it is that it's hassle-free. If you have a Kinect device up and aimed at your playing area, that's pretty much all you have to do. There's very little need of recalibration and adjusting the sensor itself. When you turn on your Xbox, the Kinect's pivot automatically adjusts itself, and all you need to do is jump in. Microsoft was a bit early with its tagline, but all things considered, the tagline is quite accurate. And with the Kinect, you indeed are the controller, which essentially means that you're paying $150 for yourself. So is the technology worth $150 price tag? Yes. The sheer amount of hardware and components inside the device blow my socks off. It pretty much explains the price tag.
It's time to take a break.
And the price of the Move? Well, the starter kit will set you back around $65, and that includes a single Move controller and the PlayStation Eye camera. That's basically all you need to play most of the Move games currently released on the platform. But if you want to play anything more complicated than ping pong, then the Navi controller is required. Not to say that there's anything wrong with ping pong. I mean, personally, I think ping pong is the new billiards. In any case, the starter kit plus Navi controller, that equals about $100. But to get the maximum potential out of the Move, you will need another Move controller, and that's another $50, taking the combined price of the Move experience to the same price point as the Kinect. And in all honesty, I'm not sure if I want any more controllers lying around the house. I mean, seriously. From this standpoint, the Kinect is a refreshing change. The best the Kinect has going for it right now is that it's cool. It's a cool device and it's a cool experience. Playing a Kinect game for the first time is definitely wow-inspiring, even for the most cynical hardcore gamer, I have to admit. How long this wow factor will last, that is yet to be determined in the upcoming rounds. But the Kinect is a success in many aspects, most important of which is the fact that it has brought gaming closer to the mainstream. It has got people playing who have never touched a game controller, and I've witnessed this myself. I even got my dad to play Dance Central, and he's going to be very pleased to see himself online. Taking into account the sheer amount of innovation inside the Kinect, I can't not award the Xbox 360 a point in round 1. The Kinect takes a deserving point in this round, and the PlayStation Move receives an A for effort, but not many points when it comes to originality. Sony basically has a Wii HD in its hands, and it needs to capitalize on this fast before there actually is a Wii HD to compete against. The key to Sony's success will be software, and judging by all the Move-supported games in the PS3's upcoming lineup, Sony is far from out of this race. And that's it for round 1. In the second round, we'll be putting motion control mechanics to the test. Round 2 will cover precision and accuracy. This is the round that differentiates real motion control out of sheer gimmickry. So stay tuned for the second installment of Season 2 of the Console Wars. LP signing out.